Currently, our planet is home to over 8 billion humans, all seeking to improve their own lives within society. From obtaining a better education or moving to other countries, the means by which to achieve these goals all revolve around one crucial aspect: the ability to communicate with others. Through language, we convey our wants and manifest our goals. However, language is not just a tool for communication. For those who move to new lands, learning a new language expands our understanding of different cultures. However, our identity essentially remains the same, in which it aligns closely with the language we use most as we mature. I myself am a second-generation immigrant from China. As someone who was born in the United States, I grew up in an English-speaking environment, received an English education, and experienced American culture firsthand. However, unlike some of the second-generation Chinese Americans here, I lived in a household that primarily speaks Chinese and frequently visits family back home. As such, I was also able to integrate the Chinese language into my daily life. This dichotomy allowed both languages to come very naturally to me. But growing up in a predominantly English society and having to speak English throughout my education has left the largest impact on me. Because everything I learned was conveyed through English, my inner monologue consists entirely of English. My upbringing in the States and the language of the voice inside my head corresponds with how I view myself, an American. And to others who know me on a personal level, such as my friends and family, I also am an American, since I was brought up in American culture and the English language. However, to people who don't know me, my fluency in both languages allows me to assimilate. Like whenever I travel to China, I appear Chinese to many people because of my lack of an accent whenever I speak Chinese. Such is also the case for my friend Angela, who is a first-generation immigrant who grew up in China as a child, only to have moved to the States to finish her middle and high school educations.
In China, actually, you start learning English, like right after 3rd grade or something like that, so I missed it. But I did take like some English classes outside of school, but it was like nowhere near, like it wasn't enough to fill the gaps.
Growing up in an environment without English made it challenging for Angela to conform initially, since the English language was essentially forced upon her.
I also felt like weird speaking in my native tongue outside of home. When I first came here, I thought like English was like the language I had to convert to, and I was like embarrassed to speak Chinese outside with my family. Like I would like really try hard to blend in and convert to English.
However, her young age allowed her to assimilate relatively quickly.
I had my cousins who grew up here, and they kind of like also molded me in a way. I assimilated really quickly.
Since Angela soon spent more time maturing in the States than in China, inner monologue adjusted to show this.
My inner monologue is definitely English.
So similar to me, Angela views herself as an American, since she grew up with American culture and the English language during her teenage years. It's correct to assume that you basically view yourself as American?
Yes.
This gain in identity from learning a new language was also experienced by my father, Wayman, an older first-generation immigrant from China who moved to America.
The reason for me to come to this country, to the United States, because I tried to study my PhD degree at the University of Pittsburgh.
The environment that my father grew up in and the language he used was vastly different from me and Angela.
At my age, we started to learn English when I went to the middle school. So we started learning English, but mostly it's English, England English. It's not American English.
Although he knew English, his unfamiliarity with spoken and everyday English, similar to Angela's, forced him to essentially relearn English at a rapid pace whenever he came to America to receive a higher education.
Yeah, it's really challenging at the beginning, the first several months, because it's hard to make people understood. Because I'm a student, I'm in a graduate school. Beyond what in the classroom English, I have to learn the English in class. And I have to spend hours, days and hours to understand understand the concepts. We are forced to speak English because people don't understand me. I would say it's about at least one semester I'm still started feeling a little bit better, comfortable, and the second semester after first year, things are getting much better.
After acclimating to his new environment and learning this new language, Wayman was able to expand his understanding of another culture.
I mean, for my culture, understanding better about the American culture. I'm learning a lot from the American culture. I feel learning English is a good thing. It increases the way I look at things broadly and systematically.
However, unlike me and Angela, since my father's entire childhood leading up to his adulthood was spent speaking the Chinese language, he still viewed himself as someone who was Chinese.
I still celebrate a lot of cultures in China, traditional way. Because I'm living here as a Chinese, I'm an immigrant. I keep my own native language very well. I even use my own dialect very well. I grew up in China, so I still view myself as a Chinese.
This in turn corresponds with his inner monologue in which he speaks Chinese.
If I want to make things work in faster way, most of them, I still use Chinese in much a better way.
From all these different stories, it's clear that learning new languages can help widen people's perspective and understanding of other cultures, as if adding another layer to our identity. However, in truth, our main and inherent identity, as well as our inner monologue, will always align with the language and culture we use and experience the most when we mature. In other words, our identity will always be affected the most by the culture we gain from speaking our mother tongue.